Welcome back to 843 TV, where communities come to speak. With me in center now is Joe Lee with the town of Port Royal. Joe, we got some things to talk about. There's some recent news about the port. What can you tell us going forward?
Well, the news today is that the developers that were considering the purchase were not able to get the money. Their contract expired on Wednesday the 12th at 5 o'clock. The agreement between the town and the State Ports Authority expired at the same time. And so from that standpoint, there's a lot of work to be done, and we will start the process in October to get the paperwork.
In trying to get this through, I know you had so much discussion with the developers with the town members. What are the things, what did the town tell the Ports Authority they wanted?
Well, I think the big thing was we realized that this is 3 times we've failed at trying to get this thing to go. And we've tried to learn from these 3 adventures. And we have told the Ports Authority that we need them to come in now and clean the property up. We're having an awful time getting residents to clean their property and keep it cut and mowed when the State Ports Authority's property looks like a desert. It's terrible. Right. So we also have asked them, and they've agreed to cover our costs for what we've went through for the last 14 months. We have legal costs and engineering costs that were a part of all this agreement. So they're going to make us whole on those expenses, which is great.
Great.
Joe, how long have you been involved with this?
Well, I started when I moved to Port Royal in 01, and in 03, the town manager wrote a letter to the governor and said we need to get rid of this excess property. So he put together some of us on a redevelopment commission in late 03. And so we've been 9 years, 3 different buyers, 2 governors. We've been to Columbia maybe 4 times to different budget and control board meetings to get approvals and things like that. So it's been an agonizing 9 years, but you learn a lot. We've learned a lot in the 9 years, and some of it's good and some of it's bad.
Joe, is there any sort of time frame associated with this next go-round?
Well, each time we say it's going to be faster the next time, but after 9 years, it's hard to be optimistic. But the paperwork flow will start, as I said earlier, in October. The Ports Authority intends to do a new appraisal for the property. That'll take another 6 or 8 months. There are some potential buyers, we feel, but they can't do anything until we work out our development agreement with the Ports Authority, and until the appraisal, the legislature says that the property has to be sold for a value that's represented by the appraisal. So that's why they have to keep doing the appraisals. It's currently, the market price was $17 million. It's kind of a toss-up as to what the new appraisal will show. So if someone stepped up tomorrow and said, we want to buy it, actually we couldn't accept that. We would have to wait until all this paperwork gets done, but it could be done in a matter of a few months. The town has received a grant from DHEC to renovate and extend the boardwalk that's at the Sands. That grant is contingent on us owning the property, and so there are a couple of pieces of property we cannot own until somebody buys the port, and then we would get the property from that buyer. So, and that grant has a time limit on it, so there's a little bit of pressure there. All the parties involved are aware of that, but there's some urgency.
And in summary, the hope is that when the Ports Authority comes in and cleans the property up, it makes it more appealing. You'll go through all the paperwork, and all the ducks will be in the rows, and hopefully for the town of Port Royal, for all of us in Beaufort, it gets cleaned up and it gets done properly.
Well, I think every resident in Port Royal has a set of bolt cutters, and we're going to line up and cut the fence down. we're so anxious to have that fence gone. But and we've been painting them gold and everything. But the real, I mean, the shed that we talked about earlier, we have this new $500,000 wetlands project that's a rookery that's just beyond imagination. We're in the process right now of repainting our, we've got a $500,000 skateboard park. That's being renovated, and the kids are going to have a new place to skate. So there's a lot going on in Port Royal, and we hope the businesses will come down and join us. And there's a lot to do. And I've said before, people ask me, what can you do? And I think the best thing I can tell people is you don't have to do anything. You can walk around, you can walk to the sands, you can do things like that. You don't have to do something.
Right.
So bring your camera, and because I think that's a minimum.
Well, Joe, you are an obvious proponent for the town of Port Royal and its success.
It's easy to do that.
And I'd love to end on a positive note. What do we have coming up soon in Port Royal? What can we look forward to?
Well, we have the last of the concert series would be on the 22nd of September. That's a free concert on the street, 6 o'clock. Then October the 20th is the Festival of the Seas, which will be our fall festival. And there's the big event at the Shed at the end of October for the film festival. So there's always something going on. And every weekend there's a Marine Corps graduation. So we've got all those folks in town. So please come and join us. And there are a lot of new restaurants, and come see us.
Lots of fun stuff going on. And I'll certainly be there with the girls.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Joe, for coming on. And when we come back, we will be talking with Billy O'Neill with the Technical College of the Lowcountry when we return to 843 TV, where communities come to speak.